You might have caught some of the announcements at Microsoft Ignite in the past couple of weeks. However, there's a lot new in Azure Arc enabled SQL managed instance. Learn all about it from Lior this week on Data Exposed. Hi, I'm Anna Hoffman, and welcome to this episode of Data Exposed. Today, I'm joined by Lior from the Azure Arc Jumpstart team. Lior is no stranger to Data Exposed, so thanks so much for coming back on the show.
Thank you for having me, Anna. This is my happy place.
I'm glad to hear that. Today, we're going to be talking about some of the new things in Azure Arc enabled SQL managed instance. So let's just start right there. What's new?
Yeah. So Anna, we've been busy at work. Ignite is upon us, and with Ignite we always have some cool things that we're coming up with. In the past few months, we've been working on the new Azure Arc enabled SQL managed instance landings on Accelerator as part of the cloud adoption framework, and this is just a continuation to our journey with Azure Arc and providing our customers with a way to understand what is really the seal of approval when it comes to how to design architectures and environments that are involved around the Azure Arc technologies. Azure Arc enabled SQL managed instance have been generally available for a while now, and it was only obvious for us to create this accelerator. So let me just kind of share you what we have and how does that look like. So I'm here in Microsoft Docs, and as part of the cloud adoption framework, and you'll be able to see that now we have a new accelerator here, Azure Arc enabled SQL managed instance. Now, with every accelerator, we are coming up with what we call critical design areas. Those critical design areas are covering different aspects of how do you want to think about an architecture, or how do you want to think about an implementation of a certain technology. And Azure Arc enabled SQL managed instance, for the landings on Accelerator for it, we have 9 new critical design areas. So those critical design areas will cover the breadth of everything you should take under consideration when it comes to Azure Arc enabled SQL managed instance. So just as an example, if I'll go to identity and access management, that will cover everything obviously under identity and access management. And the level of depth that we are going with when it comes to these accelerators is very deep. The explanations, the details, the architecture diagrams are all designed to make sure that you're coming up with more, I should say, exclamation marks than question marks. So that's really the accelerator, and this is getting launched now.
Okay, awesome. This looks really cool. It looks like there's a lot of great information in there. And like you said, this isn't just like 101 content. It looks quite deep.
Yeah.
So like this is the cloud adoption framework, if I'm understanding correctly. But
Correct.
You've also been on the show and talked to us about the Jumpstart and some of these other ways that you can easily get started actually hands-on. So are there any updates in that space?
Yeah, for sure. So when it comes to the landings on accelerators, because Azure Arc is such a unique set of technologies, I always like to say that we're building Azure outside of Azure. And the reason that I'm bringing this up is because, when you want to provide customers with a way to try things in an environment that they don't need to have their own infrastructure, they don't need to bring their own infrastructure or their multi-cloud environment. We want to provide them with a way to actually experience the technology. So the way to do that is by developing an automation that will spin up a full-blown infrastructure for them so they can try the technology. So for that, we created ArcBox DataOps edition. This is, again, a continuation to our development in the Jumpstart around Azure Arc technologies. We already have 3 flavors in market: ArcBox Full, ArcBox for IT pros, ArcBox for DevOps, and now the latest released ArcBox for DataOps. So you can see from the architecture that what we are providing to our customers is basically a fully automated environment for them to spin up in their Azure subscription. That's all you need. Everything is contained in a single resource group, and they're getting basically all the pieces that they need in order to do or in order to basically experience everything that is Azure Arc enabled SQL managed instance. Active Directory integration, DR, business continuity, and again, sample application, Grafana, everything that is around that in order for them to enjoy that. And that's also part of the accelerator.
This is always like blows my mind how many things that just like people don't understand. Like you just take ARM, Bicep, or Terraform, right? And we can just deploy all this for you.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to show you, it's a great segue because I want to show you how things looks like after you actually go by and deploy this thing. So I'm here in Azure, and this is ArcBox DataOps resource group. Now, the first thing that you might paying attention to is the number of resources that gets created. So after the environment is fully deployed, the automation is done, you're getting a lot of resources. And those resources is everything that you need in order to enjoy the environment. And maybe to make things a bit simpler here, because I can just do a bit of filtering. So let's filter based on the things that we have that's got to do with Azure Arc. So I'll basically select a few things here, and I think we're good with that. So in your SQL managed instance, and let's apply that. Now, you can see right off the bat that we have 3 data controllers, we have the custom locations, we have 3 Arc-enabled Kubernetes clusters that obviously that's the fundamental building block in order for you to enjoy Azure Arc-enabled SQL managed instance and data services in general, right? Those AKS clusters that we are Arc-enabling in order to provide that simulation, and 3 Arc-enabled SQL managed instances in order for you to do everything that we are sharing with you that you can do with this deployment. So it's a very deep, but also very vast solution. So you can go ahead and get started.
Awesome. Yeah, it looks great. And so, once people take a look at the new landing zone accelerator, this ArcBox data ops, like what do you recommend people do next? Like how do we recommend people go get started and get hands-on with all this stuff?
Yeah. So if you'll go today to the landing zone accelerator and under implementation options, you will see the start with Azure Arc enabled SQL managed instance landing zone accelerator sandbox. Wow, that was a mouthful. And you can see that we are providing you with the guidance on how to get started. This will point you into the Jumpstart webpage and all the instructions on how to go by and deploy ArcBox for DataOps. And this is really the recommended way for us to tell customers how to get started with Azure Arc-enabled SQL managed instance and all the goodies that are coming with that. And it's not just that, it's also a way for you to keep your environment intact while you're still ramping up on the technology. So you will not have to touch your production workloads. But when you are ready, we are providing you with the solutions on how to do that with a very comprehensive Azure resources automations in order for you to apply those on top of your current infrastructure. So that's how you get started.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks so much, Lior, for coming on Data Exposed again, sharing what's new. I know folks are going to be excited to see all of these different things. And to our viewers, if you like this episode, go ahead and give it a like, leave us a comment, check the description because we're going to put links to some of the things that Lior mentioned. And we hope to see you next time on Data Exposed.